Hello there, it's 10 p.m. in Banjul. This is GRTS News broadcasting live in our headlines tonight. 4 ambassadors designate present letters of credence to President Adama Barrow at a ceremony held at State House. Ahead of the OIC summit in Banjul, the Embassy of Arab Republic of Egypt donates IT materials to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. First Lady Fatoumata Bah Barrow presides over an investment forum by GAIPA and a Turkish business foundation, Dovgiv Entrepreneurial Business Foundation in Bijilo. The Ministry of Agriculture proposed to sell a bag of fertilizer to farmers at a subsidized price of $2,500 per bag this year. In sports, the Gambia's local-based team set to stage exhibition football game with Gambia national team players on holidays in the country. And World Trade Organization chief discusses new trade deal during trade ministers meeting in Geneva, warning that the path would be bumpy and rocky due to the global poly-crisis. But these and much more coming ahead in the news with me, Fatu Elika Maloshi. Many thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us. Now, we begin this bulletin with the presidency, where Wednesday's engagement saw 4 ambassadors designate present letters of credence to the president, His Excellency Adama Barrow, at the State House. Diplomats from the People's Republic of Bangladesh, the Czech Republic, the Republic of Namibia, and the Hellenic Republic of Greece are the latest to present credentials. Mamadou Jallo has the details.
Ambassador designate His Excellency Masoudur Rahman was the first of 4 diplomats to arrive at the State House. Mr. Rahman is the first Bangladeshi ambassador to be accredited to the Gambia. He later presented his credentials to the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow. Mr. Rahman praised the Gambia's leadership role in the OIC, particularly its uncompromising stance in seeking justice for the Rohingya, whilst also pledging to enhance collaboration between the 2 countries.
Our relations are rooted in the United Nations agencies and the UN, as well as in the NAM and the OIC and in the CVF, Climate Vulnerable Forum. We collaborate very deeply, and we are also the non-aligned movement countries, NAM countries, so we have a very common identical positions, and we support always each other, and our brothers to brothers are identical with identical values and ethos and with similar traditions.
Then followed the ambassador designate of the Czech Republic, His Excellency Marek Skolil. Czech-Gambia relations, according to Ambassador Skolil, have always been cordial, and his tenure offers opportunities for renewed partnership in a number of areas.
Your country is enjoying unprecedented times of development and democracy and of peaceful life for Gambians. This is a perfect moment, and I am blessed to presenting the letters right now at the beginning of his 2nd mandate with the new government to work together with Gambia on developing our ties for mutual benefit. Some of these possible fields for cooperation have been discussed.
The ambassador designate of the Republic of Namibia, His Excellency Elvis Tuludo Siweda, was the 3rd to arrive for the ceremony. After presenting his credentials to President Barrow, Namibian diplomats spoke of the profound historical relations between the 2 countries when the Gambia supported Namibia's independence struggle. He therefore expressed willingness to accelerate the development of bilateral relations with the Gambia, with particular focus on agriculture.
We're looking forward in exploration in various areas, such as agriculture, tourism, energy, education, and those are the kind of areas we will be placing high priority on, especially with the view of deriving mutual benefit from both for both our countries.
Finally, the ambassador designate of the Hellenic Republic of Greece, His Excellency Ephimois Georgios Kostopoulos, handed in his credentials to the President. Greek-Gambia bilateral relations span decades, Ambassador Kostopoulos noted, but he revealed that Greece is committed to building a strong relationship, both politically and economically, with the Gambia.
Our objective to improve the relations, to build these relations both politically and economically. Politically, I have to say that we already have excellent relations. We are always ready to cooperate, and we'll be happy to have more meetings and also to cooperate in multilateral fora like the UN, also others, and in also bilaterally. It's also our intention to do our utmost to improve business relations, trade and investment.
These 4 ambassadors are to the 5 others that have already presented their letters of credence on Monday to President Barrow. However, more ambassadors are expected next week. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS News.
Dakar, Senegal, on Wednesday donated IT equipment worth $150,000 to the Organization of Islamic Summit Gambia Secretariat at a handing-over ceremony held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Gambians Abroad. Baba Silla has the details.
Partnership for Development through its embassy to support the Gambia as the country prepares to host one of the biggest summits in the world, the OIC. The donation also signifies how prepared the Gambia is ahead of the summit this year, despite rumors indicating the Gambia's inability to host the summit. Noah Kader, the ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to Dakar, Senegal, handed over the material to Foreign Minister, outlining the commitment of Egypt to ensure the successful hosting of the summit in Banjul.
Representing the Arab Republic of Egypt to represent a small token of our friendship and our cooperation between the 2 countries, and we are always keen to be with our sister country Gambia to accompany all its steps and movement forward. We are very, very pleased to know that the summit will be held here, and we are doing our utmost to help in the success and achievement of this important summit.
The Chief Executive Officer OIC Gambia Secretariat expressed high hope in receiving the items, describing the gesture as a step in the right direction.
And we are delighted that the response has come so soon from Egypt. So on behalf of the OIC Board of Directors, and apparently the Foreign Minister is even the Deputy Chair of the Board, on behalf of the Foreign Minister and all his colleagues, and the Chairman of the OIC Board, which is the President of the Republic of the Gambia, and on behalf of all my colleagues and the local organizing committee, we want to register our deepest appreciation to the Arab Republic of Egypt for this kind gesture. We thank you, and as I said again, nothing is small, and we hope this is the first step in our journey towards the hosting of the summit.
Foreign Minister Mama Tangara, who lobbied on behalf of the Secretariat in his capacity as the Foreign Minister on International Cooperation, has this to say in receiving the materials.
We met, I remember it was in Mecca, and the 2 of them, when we were talking about organizing even joint commission and others, they say, no, we are action-oriented. President CCC, we just go straight into things and we make things happen. And I think it's in that spirit that the Arab Republic of Egypt is coming to support the OIC Secretariat. Because if we are successful in organizing this summit, it's also their success. So we want to register our appreciation, our gratitude to the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt on behalf of His Excellency the President, the government, and on our own behalf as board members and on behalf of the whole board.
Ahead of the summit, few months away, the CEO of OIC Gambia Secretariat and his team, with support from partners, are working hard to ensure the successful hosting of the summit as the major infrastructure works are in high gear. Bawa Sila, GRTS.
Moving on, an investment forum organized by the Gambia Import and Export Promotion Agency, GAIPA, and a Turkish business foundation dubbed GIVE Entrepreneurial Business Foundation is underway at the Sadauda Karaba Jawara International Conference Center in Bijilo. The forum, graced by the First Lady, Her Excellency Madam Fatoumata Barrow, is part of a 5-day investment exploration mission in the Gambia by officials of the Turkish Entrepreneurial and Business Foundation. Alajim has the details.
Investment Gateway of the Gambia, GAIPA is mandated to promote and facilitate investment activities in the country. The forum is meant to enable the agency present investment opportunities to members of the GIV Entrepreneurial and Businessmen Foundation of Turkey, while providing Gambian businesses the opportunity to harness possible partnerships with their Turkish counterparts. Speaking on behalf of the Minister of Finance, who is currently overseeing the Ministry of Trade, Modou Lamine Sow, reiterated government's commitment to creating conducive business policies and environment for national and international investors.
In the reform arena, the government continues to implement far-reaching regulatory and policy reforms to enhance business and investment environment, well anchored on liberal and market-oriented economic principles. The recent review and amendment of the GAIPA Act regulations demonstrates GAIPA and the Ministry's responsiveness to the dynamic of the private sector arena. The formulation of the National Trade Policy, Investment Policy Review, the National Export Strategy, the recent downward adjustment of our corporate tax rates, the formulation of micro, small, and medium enterprise policy, which has recently been reinforced by the formulation of the National Entrepreneurship Policy, among others, are clear indication of government commitments in improving business and investment environment.
The CEO of GAIPA, Usainu Senghor, said the forum is in line with his agency's mandate to promote export and investment in the country.
GAIPA will collaborate and partner with GIV, Entrepreneurial Businessmen Foundation, both in the Gambia and in Turkey, to facilitate the development of our entrepreneurship and investment landscapes. This is a shared mission between GAIPA and GIV. GIV is highly active in supporting entrepreneurships and access to finance, which GAIPA as an institute want to leverage upon. GAIPA again welcomes GIV to establish in the Gambia and have an official working relationship with the government through GAIPA. The theme for the forum, Business Opportunities for Inclusive Growth, is all about linking businesses together for a shared prosperity.
The chairman of the Turkish Entrepreneurial Businessmen Foundation, Mehmet Koç, described the Gambia as a potential investment hub for Turkish entrepreneurs and assured a mutually beneficial business initiatives for the two countries.
Gambia can be a good hub for Turkish companies to invest. You have young generation people, thousands of, 100,000s of people. If we can train them, they can be entrepreneurs, they can be good engineers and managers and management, etc. I mean, we can develop a good relation with both countries because both we have advantages to comply each other. Okay, Turkey and Gambia, I believe, they really comply each other.
The Turkish entrepreneurs also met the First Lady, Her Excellency Madam Fatoumata Barrow, on the sidelines of the forum, who also graced the event. Alajimbai, GRTS News.
In another development, the Minister of Information, Honorable Lamin Queen Jammeh, is continuing his familiarization tour of media institutions in the country with his delegation. After visiting radio and TV stations in the Kanifing municipality, the tour went up-country to gather first-hand information about media establishments in the area. Ibrahim Jallo is with the tour party and he now reports.
The Minister of Information, Honorable Lamin Queen Jammeh, continues his familiarization tour of media houses in the country as he crossed to the North Bank region on Monday starting with a visit to Nyomi FM in Essew. The manager Usman A. Marong said the radio currently has challenges in terms of coverage area and human resource capacity. According to Marong, the medium has played a role in sensitizing and educating people in the area about crimes, especially theft cases, which according to him have drastically reduced. Established in 2020, the radio has 5 staff and runs mostly entertainment programs. From Nyomi FM to Kerawan Community Radio in Lower Badibu. Established in 1996, the manager, Jerry Diba, said the radio does various programs such as health, agriculture, and education, amongst others. He said the radio is not commercial and that it has financial challenges for effective operations, citing mobility issues. In Farafenye, the manager, Seni Diba, and staff of the Farafenye Community Radio had an interactive session with the minister. Mr. Diba said the radio is a non-profit one and that all staff are voluntary. He said it does religious, sports, and sensitization programs on security matters, amongst others. Monday's tour of media houses in the North Bank region climaxed at Paradise FM in Farafenye. The manager Usman Jallo expressed delight on the minister's visit, saying it is the first of its kind. He said the radio runs educative and sensitization programs. On Tuesday, the touring delegation proceeded to the GRTS transmission station in Bansang, where technicians lament low electricity voltage to operate the transmitters that send transmission signal for the radio. The staff also pleaded with the authorities to pave the access road to the Hilltop transmitter facility. The minister and delegation also visited the Bansang Community Radio, established in 2012. Here, the staff complained about insufficient equipment, such as microphones. The voltage issue is also being felt at GRTS buses transmission. Staff of the buses station also cited mobility challenges, especially during early and late hours and for regular news coverages. The delegation also visited Taxi FM in Basse as part of the agenda. Tuesday's activities ended with a courtesy call on the governor of the Upper River region, Sambaba, where officials had a chat on the objective of the tour. The tour continued to Brikangaba Community Radio and the GRTS transmitter in Kudang, all in CRR South. The management of Brikangaba Community Radio lament acute water shortage, mobility, and financial challenges. Meanwhile, GRTS management has announced plans to install new transmitters in Kudang, Kaur, and Kerawan. The provincial tour continued on Wednesday with visit to GRTS transmitter in Mansakonko and Soma Community Radio, coming down to Biam and Kaira Community Radio in Kuloro, West Coast region. The chief of Jara West, Alhaji Yaya Jajusi, applauded the minister and delegation for seeking first-hand information about media houses across the country. The minister and team of experts took note of all concerns raised.
They have expressed concerns and challenges in different ways and areas, and the team has taken stock of that. Information is being gathered so that at the end of the exercise, we'll come together and as a ministry, as critical stakeholders in the information sector, to see what can be done regarding their plight.
When we visited some place like GRTS Bansang and that of Basse, there is one particular challenge which to them, of all the priorities, appear to be the most important priority, which is the frequent power outage and its impact, or low voltage and its impact on their operations. Because if nothing is done about that, over time what is going to happen is the entire investment in those places will become a white elephant, in the sense that everything can go down in a matter of minutes or seconds, which is going to be a huge burden. And as a result, it is going to be an imperative upon the ministry and the government to make sure that everything is done possible to address those issues at the earliest opportunity.
However, the minister urged all private and community radio stations to link GRTS radio during prime-time news.
President Barrow, in the dispensation of democracy, enacted into law the Access to Information Law, to make law not only as a necessity, a nice to have, but to understand that it is a basic human need and therefore a human right. By linking with the GRTS, the citizenry would have been informed of what government is up to, of what the current issues, of what current issues are in national development and in every aspect of life for that matter.
The tour continues. Ibrahima Jallo, GRTS News.
Ibrahim there. And over now to this press release, and it reads, the Ministry of Agriculture wishes to inform the general public that it has secured 140,000 bags of fertilizer for $3,500 per bag. A media release from the Ministry of Agriculture states that after a series of consultations and meetings, the ministry has proposed to sell the bags of fertilizer to farmers at a subsidized price of $2,500 per bag. Understandably, the current market price marks a significant hike from the previous year's price. Despite the efforts of the government in making the fertilizer affordable, like many other important countries, it is susceptible to any exogenous shocks, such as prices increase and disruption in world trade, as is being experienced currently. Excuse me, in general, any increase in the external cost of commodities translates directly to higher importation cost and as a result higher price of commodities. This extends to the price of fertilizer as well. Albeit the many challenges, the ministry is working tirelessly to address the concerns raised by farmers on the high cost of fertilizer. All efforts are currently geared towards further reduction of the proposed price to a much lower amount, as well as towards increasing the number of bags on the ones that have been already bought. The public is thereby reminded that the agriculture sector is the most important sector of the Gambian economy, contributing 20% of the gross domestic product and providing employment and income for 70% of mainly the rural population. Therefore, the ministry will not relent in consolidating the gains that have been registered in the sector. Furthermore, the ministry is still committed to developing and sustainably modernizing the sector. The farmer is the most important player in the agricultural value chain, and their well-being remains the core mission of the Ministry of Agriculture. The release ends. Now, a team of Nigerian students is in the country on a study tour. The focus of training is on climate change and conflict studies, hosted by the Gambia State Intelligence Service. After a series of engagements since their arrival on Monday, the over 20-member team had its first lecture at the SIS Academy in Banjulinding. Babukar Senghor has the details.
This team forms part of the Cohort 5 of the National Institute for Security Studies of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The group is drawn from Nigeria's premier intelligence and security training institute, providing high-quality security management training for personnel, and has since inception in 1999 trained some top-level officers, among them Gambian Security Service personnel, including the newly appointed director of the SIS Academy.
The subject of the presentation today, undertaken in collaboration with the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, was informed by the course theme of our visiting EIMC 15, which theme is climate change and national security.
The focus of the team's tour to the Gambia is premised on the emerging issues related to climate change and conflict studies. Alhaji A.S. Adekele is the commandant of Nigeria's National Institute for Security Studies.
All of us must be aware that security is central to development. Without security, there can't be development. The people, administrators, captains of industry, and in fact the press must support the DGSIS to ensure peace and stability in the Gambia.
A challenge to the country is in the maritime domain. Gambia being a littoral state, we have to protect. In fact, I am told that probably we have more water space than we have as land, because if you take our EEZ into account, we have more space in the Atlantic than we have in the land, and so it becomes very important for the welfare and economic development of the country to be able to protect our maritime resources.
It is the consequential changes and the shifting attention that, according to these experts, demand for an equally strategic move to focus on climate change and its impact on development.
as already also mentioned by the Deputy CDS, the reference point is moving from state security, state-focused security, state-centric security, to human security. And there is no gainsaying that climate change and its impact and its effect is indeed causing huge challenges to lives and livelihoods.
DG Sow described the visit as vital for critical knowledge transfer, highlighting the fast-paced developments in the region and, more importantly, the strides being taken to ensure the Gambia map out key strategies to achieve its overall development objectives.
Every intelligence and security services institute worth of its salt today must be futuristic and must look at sustainable development, which in essence is catering for the present without compromising future needs, as a guide as to what we do in business.
For the next few days, the team is expected to go through interactive training under the guidance of personnel from the Ministry of the Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, and joint field trips with their counterparts. For GRTS News, this is Babukar Senghor.
Now, the Yoruba King, Your Royal Highness Oba Moshood Abolade, celebrates 10 years on the throne in the promotion of Yoruba culture in the Gambia. Louis Mendy reports the event was characterized by the display of the Yoruba culture, anchored on discipline, hard work, and respect.
The Dance of the Kings. It marks 10 years on the throne for His Royal Highness Oba Moshood Abolade, the King of the Yoruba community in the Gambia. The father figure for the Yoruba dedicated the achievement to God, wives, and children.
I thank my wives for standing by me solidly. I may not be too good, but they have to manage me. I'm what I am. Nobody can change this man, it's only God.
The symbolic milestone was characterized by a display of culture. Dressed in traditional attire, the Yorubas portray themselves as custodians of tradition in the celebration, which also reflects on their origin as a people.
You lose your culture, you lose your identity. Throw your culture away, you pay for it dearly. Let us promote our culture. Let us cherish it. We thank Gambia government for allowing us to promote our culture to the fullest.
Reflecting on his journey to the greatest, Oba Moshood Abolade said the work of Rotary has shaped his life enormously.
I appreciate Rotary. Rotary has shaped me. Rotary has molded me. I've traveled worldwide because of Rotary. If you want to be a good leader, join the Rotary. If you want to be a good leader, join the Rotary. I joined Rotary family in 1998.
Among the few Obas who flew from abroad to grace the occasion is Omobolaji Ogunkoya, the Oba of Liberia.
There is nothing as good as celebrating greatness and goodness.
On this day in Farato, the Nigerian High Commissioner sent his greetings to the Yoruba through Mrs. Belegun.
Kabiesi, you've played an important role in promoting the image of the rich culture of the Yorubas in the Gambia. In addition, you've displayed courage in taking up the responsibility attached to your office.
One Gambian proud of this great moment is Mohamed Jabi, a friend of the Yoruba King Obolade.
There is a lot that we can learn from this. These are Yorubas from Nigeria. They came to Gambia and established their culture in the Gambia. And what is even more outstanding, they have their obas that flew all the way from Ireland, from Netherlands, from all over the country. They come to observe this. I think the Gambia too, with the different tribal diversities we have in the Gambia government should in fact even encourage such type of cultural activity in our country.
King Obolade's 10 years anniversary also witnessed the confirmation of some Yoruba chiefs as men of substance. But what does it mean to be a crown Yoruba chief?
In a locality like this means a position of trust, a position of kindness, empathy to the people of the community. And this way, we kind of establish our traditions and culture, because this is far away from Nigeria, but then we took it with us so that our children and even the community, the Gambians themselves, can see that we're definitely worthy of emulation.
10 years anniversary for King Obalade, with chiefs to support the good work for a dignified Yoruba community in the Gambia, to whom much is given, much is expected. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Well, congratulations to the Oba, and we pray that he lives long. Away from that, the Konte Kunda family of Busumbala on Tuesday lost their valuables and household materials in a devastating fire outbreak at around 7 p.m. Kiriatu Jallo has the details.
The editor-in-chief, News and Current Affairs Department of GRTS, Karabulai Konte, has received the unfortunate news of a fire outbreak at his residence in Busumbala on Tuesday evening. While closing from work, he tells us more about the incident.
Well, I got a call from my daughter this evening while I was just coming from work around Abuko, that I should contact the fire and rescue services because my house is on fire. And that's how I called 115, that happened to be Serekunda, and they directed me to call Brikama Fire Service, which I eventually did. But unfortunately, before they got here, the neighbors came out, or I can say fortunately again, they came out in their large numbers. That's how we were able to save some of the few items that you are seeing around, thanks to the neighbors.
The fire almost ravaged the entire household, leaving the Konte Kunda family with little to contend with. Mr. Konte thanked the neighbors for the support in containing the fire before the arrival of the fire and rescue services. He said there was no casualty registered in the incident. He further appealed for support from philanthropists and well-wishers, saying their valuables have been consumed by the inferno.
Though fire and rescue services eventually got here, but then the damage was already been done. So my special gratitude goes to the neighbors for their swift response in quenching the fire. But you can see, fire outbreaks are always devastating because it takes you back to square zero. And so is my dilemma.
Neighbors around the area showed sympathy and commiserate with the Konte family over the devastating incident, and they also add their voices for support to the family.
Kanu kasaro woketale kanu na fengol bele janita ala ko tonya na fengol bele janita ala de maro sinyo le badin si ye ma koy baake
karabula kadan sinyo mal jambirana ta jang to lena be siri yo bare comme ni ala lañuno nata feretala muslimo be dawda do wasi duwa kafu e fo ala sintanka masibo kolma bebe baluo kono barbutundun anymawo.
The cause of the fire outbreak is unknown up to the time of this report. This is a difficult and heartbreaking moment for the Konte family. Anyone who wishes to support the Konte family can please call the following number: 223-4444, 223-4444. Khadijatu Jallo reporting for GRTS News.
Devastating times for the EIC and his family there. But to another press release, and it reads, the Gambia Armed Forces wish to inform the public that it will conduct field training exercise from Wednesday 15 to Thursday 16 June 2022 in the general area of Fajara Barracks, Bakau New Town, Fajara and Cape Point. The training exercise will involve the movement of troops and use of blank ammunition, especially around the general areas mentioned. The residents of the above-mentioned communities are therefore urged to not panic and are encouraged to go on with their normal daily activities, as this is a routine exercise. The release ends. Time now for our first break. Sports news is up next. Stay tuned.
GRA, in partnership with the African Development Bank through its support for economic and financial governance TREE project to strengthen the domestic revenue mobilization for the Gambia, will on Monday, June 20th, launch the state-of-the-art ICT platform called Asikuda Wall, replacing the existing Asikuda Plus Plus by the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs at the Revenue House in Banjul, followed by the inauguration of the GRA Revenue House Annex Office. Asikuda Wall has the following objectives: improve procedures in the customs administration, facilitate trade by shortening the turnaround for clearance, contribute to the overall customs revenue collection, promote interagency and regional cooperation, and support the provision of trade statistics for decision-making. The launching of the system will involve the go-live and the rollout of the transit module to 4 border posts: Amdalai, Farafenye, Basse, and Jiboro. Stakeholders are duly notified and assured of a smooth migration without disruption.
Welcome back. Now, the Chan team of the Gambia are set to play an exhibition football game with a selection of the Gambia national team players who are currently on holidays in the country. The game is also set to be used as a test game for coach Alaji Sarr's Chan team, who are preparing for their Chan Championship qualifiers game against Guinea-Bissau next month. The tie between the Scorpions and the Chan team is set to be played at the Independence Stadium in Bakau at 8:30 in the morning. An exciting affair it is expected to be. We're now going to go into our second break. When we come back, we look at news from beyond our borders. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, dozens of defense ministers from NATO and other parts of the world are expected to discuss weapons deliveries to Ukraine on Wednesday in Brussels, US officials said, as Kyiv calls for a significant increase in arms to help hold off Russian troops in eastern Ukraine. France 24 has the details.
Outnumbered and outgunned. These Ukrainian soldiers have, for weeks now, been fending off Russian forces outside Lysychansk. Knowing the Russians have the advantage, they're making every strike count.
The enemy, of course, has a lot of artillery. They don't count their ammunition. Our soldiers are skillfully using what we have now, but a lot of modern models are being given to us by our partners. So I think in the near future the situation will change.
Lysychansk and its twin city Severodonetsk are the last pockets of resistance in the Luhansk region. Conquering them would allow Russia to move west, into the Donbass's second region, Donetsk. And both sides know that winning in the Donbass could dictate the course of the war.
We have had losses, unfortunately, and they are painful. But we need to hang in there. Donbass is the key to deciding who will dominate in the coming weeks.
President Zelensky also repeated his regular plea for more weapons. For Ukraine's defense ministry says that they are outgunned 1-10 and need more artillery to be on equal footing with the Russian army. Ukrainian officials also said that Russian forces now control around 80% of Severodonetsk, and they've destroyed the main bridges out of the city, making evacuations for Ukrainians possible but increasingly difficult. Once a city of 100,000, some 12,000 civilians remain, including more than 500 trapped in the Azot chemical plant. In a proposal similar to a previous scheme in Mariupol, a Russian commander said a humanitarian corridor for those trapped in the plant was possible, but it would lead to Russian-controlled areas.
And the World Trade Organization chief Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has expressed optimism on the outcome of the trade ministers' meeting in Geneva. The WTO chief envisions 1 or 2 global deals this week, but warns the path there would be bumpy and rocky. The Director General from Nigeria says the world has become more complicated since the WTO's last ministerial conference nearly 5 years ago. Details in this report.
The world has changed since the last one. I wish I could say for better, but it's certainly become more complicated. I've never seen in my lifetime so many conflicts at the same time. And I've spoken so much about this because it's pretty unusual. We're still trying to cope with a pandemic that has cost the world millions of lives. We have an international security crisis with the war in Ukraine. We have a major food crisis, an energy crisis, and we have an ongoing climate change crisis. So this poly-crisis or simultaneous crisis is really unprecedented.
Unprecedented indeed, and that does it for this news bulletin. But before we take leave of you, here's a quick look at our top stories once again. 4 ambassadors designate have presented letters of credence to President Adama Barrow at a ceremony held in State House. Ahead of the OIC summit in Banjul, the Embassy of Arab Republic of Egypt has donated IT materials to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. First Lady Fatoumata Barrow has presided over an investment forum by GAIPA and a Turkish business foundation dubbed Give Entrepreneurial Business Foundation in Bijilo. Plus, the Ministry of Agriculture has proposed to sell a bag of fertilizer to farmers at a subsidized price of $2,500 per bag this year. In sports, the Gambia's local-based team is set to stage exhibition football game with Gambia national team players on holidays in the country. And World Trade Organization chief has been discussing new trade deals during trade ministers' meeting in Geneva, warning that the path would be bumpy and rocky due to the global poly-crisis. You're watching GRTS News with me, Fatu Elika Maloshi, but that does it for tonight's bulletin. And from the entire news team, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Enjoy GRTS for more interesting programs. Good evening.